live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio Morning News. First, here are the headlines. Civilians displaced by a recent conflict in Lear County of Unity State say they have witnessed disturbing cases of human rights abuses by armed assailants. The Chief of Defense Forces urges senior officers who shall form part of the unified command structure to shun tribalism and embrace the spirit of patriotism. An entrepreneur has called on South Sudanese to engage in making of local products to discourage importation of goods from neighboring countries. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lugala Mulai. And now the news in detail. Civilians who were displaced by recent conflict in Lear County of Unity State say they have witnessed disturbing cases of human rights abuses by armed men. Last week, armed men suspected to have come from the neighboring areas reportedly attacked Lear, burned villages, looted properties and displaced thousands in several villages. The conflict, which started as an SPLA-IO function fighting in Mirmir, reportedly took another dimension as armed youth took advantage of the situation to raid and loot. Yesterday, the Commission of Lear County said at least 13,000 households have been displaced to Lear Town and Mom Training Center. The conflict survivors who spoke to iRadio from different remote locations recounted appalling atrocities, including killing, rape, and burning of invalid inside shelters.
What has happened yesterday is very serious rape. I saw 15 girls was raped and 7 women was raped. They come and burn the houses and they kill many people and they burn the great mom and great father in the house. They shooting many people. Although you are blind, deaf, vulnerable, they kill you. مساكن كانوا وصل منها يعني ما رضي يوم مثلاً جرى إذا كنا جرى بعض كنا كنا جرى في ترونا كنا تنتظر بتعمل والناس ما عنده عقل الناس عاطفيين في مالات ما في النوع يجرب في كلام هاي عقل بكرة هذا هذا ده ما عنده مثلاً كنا مجرد بس ده يوم الناس كانوا جا حاج النار كنا كتلو أكون كنا كثير ما بني ما بدك الناس لكن من كثير ما كنا ما في مالات تعمل أدو لا يعمل لنا حاجة خاصة أدو لا جانا من أول مباراه جانا 3 يوم في البحر مررنا برا يعني كلهم كتلو خرجهم جوابا والباقين دخلهم جموي وعايشين وكلنا جعانين ما في ولا حاجة بياكلوا زي الذاتي شوفوا كلهم بالموت الجوع ما في حاجة ما في حتى خلوه مشوا بو مشوا وين اي حتى بنات كلهم قاعد يعملوا لهم خسارات في المشاكل قاعد يطلعونا في محلات في جو البحر حتى لو نفس ذاته بيقتلوا الجناح ما هو من عندهم رجال ولا عندهم بيقول لي يرموا رجالته كان أنا يتعامل مع جونتي كانوا يعلم كم يقرأي نجار كان نجار تطلع كتير جوانا نانجا تنجدوا نجار كان يجي يعني بين كنا على اللي جاني بيعلم كان كل عدنا بيعلم من عليه وانا ولا ده أنا كان يجي متنسوني في أنا هذا اللي كلنا نيلا في جابا اليوم كله أي مرة لو ولدين ب3 شهور 4 يوم كل يوم كل الناس جوا البحر البلد كله عربوا اليوم هذا في مال صعب شديد عندنا يومين هذا جوا البحر نحن بنسأل العالم يا جماعة نحن نحن في جنوب السودان ولا نحن في برا جنوب السودان هذا نسأل العالم يا جماعة ليه قاعدين يقتلون زي كده.
Last week, the SSPDF spokesperson called on the ceasefire monitoring body Citizen VM to investigate the latest flare-up of hostilities in and around Mirmir Payam of Unity State. The Chief of Defense Forces urges senior officials or officers who shall form part of the unified command structure to shun tribalism and embrace the spirit of patriotism. First Lieutenant General Santino Dengwall says officers must abide by military ethics at all times. He encouraged them to learn from the times of the liberation struggle, citing past unity and selfness among former SPLA cadres. According to the Revitalized Peace Agreement, the SSPDF, SPLA-IO and SOA shall be unified under one commander-in-chief. The military structure shall also be unified instead of each force having its own command. Speaking to senior officers of the SSPDF, SPLA-IO and SOA at the military headquarters in Juba on Friday, General Santino Dengwall urges the officers to view themselves as colleagues mandated to protect all civilians. He discouraged any member of the organized forces from engaging in politics.
أنين دارين منكم روح الوطنية بوجود القيادة أهم شيء. القيادة ما قوي وما ويد نفسه بالمعنى بالدماء يوهد. كان دار نقول لكم أنتم دبات أنين ما بفر دابت بتاعه ولا دابت بتاع سوا ولا بتاع كوما أنا بقول أنتم دبات دارين روح الوطنية منكم. وقت أنتم شفتوا من 3 لكاد 2005 دروح الوطنية كان عندنا والهنا ويدنا كلمة بتاعنا كان واحد في غابة ما دارين قبيلة كده وقبيلة كده وقبيلة كده ده ما يعود معنا قيادة ونشغل سوا خدنين أبناء بتاع الجنوب ما بواحد منكم جاء برا من الجنوب أننا ما عندنا قضية مع قبلية ولا سياسة دابد ما يميل على سياسة تكون دابد بتاع دولة تكون عريض لعمل بتاعك فقط أما عمل سياسي كل الناس يمارس العمل السياسي.
Early this month, a press statement from the Office of the President disclosed that the SSPDF plans to retire some of its officers as it embarks on reforming the National Army and to provide room for members of the opposition forces. The central report said that South Sudan has more military generals than doctors. Transforming the former SPLA, now SSPDF, into a professional army has been a promise made by several former chiefs of defense forces. But experts say the task has not been easy, considering the rampant corruption by top military leaders and levels of illiteracy among the soldiers. The founder of Ubuntu Farms Enterprise has called on South Sudanese to engage in making of local produce to discourage importation of goods from neighboring countries. This was during the Youth Business Exhibition for the year 2022, which was held on Friday. The event aims at encouraging local talents and transforming them into useful ideas. Joy Lado, who is the enterprise founder, urges South Sudanese to be creative and work hard to contribute towards the development of the country. Joy was speaking to iRadio on Friday morning.
You have to be creative. There are a lot of things which we lack as South Sudanese. You don't have to wait for somebody to employ you. Just go out there, look for opportunities, see how you can contribute to the development of this country. There are a lot of things.
Get started wherever you are. It is not the end of the world for you to get started. Get started with what you have, even if it's very little. Just get started with that. With time, you will be able to get ground and you will be able to scale. But the most important thing, it is to get started. Go do your research and get started with that business that you have been thinking about.
Dr. Hayat of Empire Chalks encourages the South Sudanese to discourage laziness and culture of waiting for chances.
You have to be creative. There are a lot of things which we lack as South Sudanese. You don't have to wait for somebody to employ you. Just go out there, look for opportunities, see how you can contribute to the development of this country. There are a lot of things, because this nation is very young, and there are a lot of things which we don't have, which are coming from our side. If there's something which is coming from our side and you can do it, why can't you do it here in this country?
Ubuntu Farms is an agribusiness that specializes in vegetable growing. Farming in South Sudan is mainly subsistent, and the country imports most of its food commodities from the region despite being an agriculturally viable state. Research published by the Kingdom of Netherlands says low levels of production in combination with ongoing hostilities have led a large part of the population being food insecure and experiencing unbalanced diets. You are listening to iRadio News. Now to stories from the region and the international scene, brought to you by MTN.
1, 2, 3. 1 million. 2 million.
Yes. It's time to celebrate. MTN 2 million. MTN has reached over 2 million customers and still counting. With over 2 million subscribers, why won't you trust MTN?
To enter the draw, get an MTN SIM card today and get free 10 minutes every day for 3 months and 500 MB every month for 3 months. And on top of that, qualify to enter a draw to win 2 million SSP cash.
Sabi, what are you waiting for? Buy an MTN SIM card today and get to win 2 million SSP. Yes, when MTN says 2 million SSP, it's 2 million for one lucky Junubin. Second winner gets 200,000 SSP, 10 winners get 20,000 SSP, and others get lots of MTN branded prizes.
Join MTN, the biggest family in South Sudan, and enjoy such amazing offers.
MTN, everywhere you go.
A UN Security Council request for independent investigation into the alleged Mora massacre in Mali has been blocked by Russia. The request was contained in a statement drafted by France and submitted to the Security Council for approval Friday. Russia, backed by China, opposed it, according to several diplomats. Moscow and Beijing did not see the need for this text considered premature while an investigation has been opened by the Malian authorities, said one of those diplomats on condition of anonymity. Human Rights Watch reported the summary execution of 300 civilians by Malian soldiers associated with foreign fighters between March 27 and 31st in Mora. Malian authorities claim to have neutralized 203 jihadists in the central Malian town, where the UN has been demanding access for more than a week to investigate under its Security Council mandate. Gambians are voting for lawmakers in legislative elections that will consolidate a young democracy and may see President Adama Barrow strengthen his power after winning re-election last year. Voters in the West African state on Saturday will renew their Voters in the West African state on Saturday renewed the Cameroon National Assembly's 58th seat for the 5-year term. The single-round vote will help to choose 53 lawmakers, while Barrow, serving a second 5-year term after last December's electoral victory, will name the 5 others, including the parliament's president. Finally, Pakistan's parliament will select a new prime minister on Monday after Imran Khan was ousted in a no-confidence vote in the early hours of Sunday. Shahbaz Sharif, the leader of the opposition coalition who worked to dispose Mr. Khan, is widely expected to win a majority of votes. Mr. Khan, 67, was voted out after days of political drama and Supreme Court intervention. He attempted to block a previous attempt to bring a no-confidence motion against him by dissolving parliament and calling for a snap election. However, the country's Supreme Court upheld an opposition petition that his actions were unconstitutional and ordered the vote to go on. And that is... And the international news, stories from the region and international news, was brought to you by MTN. You are listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, first here are the headlines once again. Civilians displaced by recent conflict in Lear County of Unity State say they have witnessed cases of human rights abuses by armed assailants. The Chief of Defense Forces urges senior officers who shall form part of the unified command structure to shun tribalism and embrace the spirit of patriotism. And an entrepreneur has called on South Sudanese to engage in making of local produce to discourage importation of goods from neighboring countries. That is the end of iRadio Morning News. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 912 986 986. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. You can visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at the top of the hour. I had been Lugala Mulai. Thanks for listening.
One, two, three. 1 million.